Last week on Food Journey, I visited Lotius Chocolate Shop and ended up with my friend JJ, discussing and taste testing some delicious chocolates. Today it's into the kitchen to create that savory and sweet recipe we promised to share with you. This recipe calls for some interesting taste profiles. One of them vanilla, from the pod. JJ handled that.
This is real vanilla from the pod.
It's fantastic.
And it smells great. This is what people pay so much money for. It's expensive, but it's worth
every penny.
Every penny of it.
It's going to really enhance our dish in a special
way.
way.
It adds such a lovely flavor note that you can't, and of course the aroma is something you cannot miss.
It's amazing. I'm excited.
Yes, yes, yes.
So while you get going on that, I'm gonna start seasoning up my chicken wings we're gonna use for the barbecue sauce.
Oh yes, the chocolate flavored barbecue sauce. So
we got some beautiful chicken wings here. The idea is to get all the spices distributed around the chicken wings, using your hands to work it in. I had JJ working on garlic. The chicken is put into a smallish pot and steamed. Now the best job for JJ, the onions. And he's seemingly unperturbed. So nice to have help in the kitchen. Then in the interim, to while away the time, we just talked. We talked about interior design, and with that keen eye of his, we could see how he created a beautiful contemporary coziness in the room, while sharing my newfound love, chocolate. A few minutes later, the chicken was steamed and ready to meet the sauce. The next part of this is building up the flavor components, which create the special finished velvety sauce, just ready to be slathered onto the wings. So it's sweet, hot and sour bubbleliciousness and yumminess. Even JJ had to come in and taste, drawn in by the smell. Okay, it's time to get our baking pan out and coat the wings, first slathering the pan. Chicken in. And coat them all evenly. Slip this under your grill. I'm leaving my oven door open and turning the wings halfway. 5 minutes on each side is enough. Now mine are ready for a proper seeing to. JJ, lead the way. Follow that pot. So on a scale of 1 to 10, this was an 11. The rich taste of the Nigerian cocoa really came through. There's nothing like sharing an excellent treat with someone who really appreciates the journey. Chili chocolate smothered barbecue sauce chicken wings. Now that's a recipe I won't forget in a hurry. Now it's time for the Sweet Treat Challenge. So far, I've been using exclusively Nigerian chocolate. But for this treat, I'm using some different chocolate. This time, from my local supermarket. We'll see how it compares.
And I thought it might be fun to do a little dessert using simple things that you can find every day in your supermarket. So I'm going to start by making a ganache. And what that is it's melted chocolate, usually melted with cream. But in this case, I'm going to use evaporated milk, just because it's something that you can get easily anywhere you shop. So this is what I need. Some beautiful chocolate, some oat cookies, some evaporated milk, and some groundnuts, which I'm gonna crush.
Ganache is really chocolate melted in cream. It comes together to form a silky, shiny, semi-thick finish, as seen in these sumptuous desserts. We're going to start off by pouring some evaporated milk into a little saucepan. Keep the flame low. I'll be stirring this from time to time, so the milk doesn't form a skin. Remember, we're going for that smooth finish.
So let's get our groundnuts prepared. What I have to do is I have to just crush these groundnuts. I got these on the side of the road, just like everybody else can. And they're gonna go into this mortar, and I'm going to crush them with the pestle.
What we're going for is a kind of large crumble.
Yep, this is what I want. This kind of consistency, almost like a big crumb. So let's tilt it onto a plate. And kind of spread it out. So we're going to go ahead now and chop up this beautiful chocolate into shards and then into smaller pieces.
I'm trying to make the chocolate easier to dissolve in the heated milk. It's a big pile of chocolatey rubble right now. Now let's check the milk, because we don't want it to form a skin or to boil. So it's off the fire now. I'm putting in all this chocolate. Look at that. This ganache is really starting to come together. And it's at this point in the process where one can add flavors of your choice. Such as cinnamon or even a fruit essence. Because this chocolate contains more additives and preservatives, it hasn't melted as quickly as the indigenous brand we've tried. Look at that thickness. I think this is about right. Now I'm going to pour it into a bowl and let it cool down.
So now it's time to do the final stage, putting everything together. Simply, we're going to put the cookies into the chocolate, half dip them into the groundnuts, onto a plate, into the fridge, and into my mouth.
Okay, let's start with clean hands dipping. Now this is a little messy, but I can tell you it's a lot of fun. Kind of playing with the chocolate, really. A good group activity for kids too. There's so many varieties to try as well. So be as creative as possible. Now they're ready to be popped into the fridge for a bit to set.
Okay, here we go. Smells nice.
Oh yes, you got yours? I got mine.
All right, we're ready to try these chocolate dipped oat and groundnut coated cookies. Have a look at that. You first. The suspense. Going for that. They might be a little sticky. And I'm going for the same. Sticky, sticky, sticky. Yum. This is really delicious. And as I said, I don't have a sweet tooth, but I'm slowly becoming a believer. Milk?
I'm sorry, were you saying something?
Oh, lovely. I love the fact that you can do so many different things with chocolate. Who knew?
I agree. Anything you say at this time, I'm yours. I'm sold.
Give me all your money.
No problem.
Cheers.
Well, my verdict is that Nigerian chocolate wins hands down.
Well, this has been a delicious chocolatey episode. Wouldn't you agree? He's not talking.
Yes.
And from Food Journey, I'm gonna say goodbye. Keep eating these delicious cookies. See ya.
Don't go away yet. I've got a special treat in store for you. Just wait and see. Nigeria is the fourth largest producer of cocoa and the third largest exporter within the big four cocoa producing countries: the Ivory Coast, Ghana, Nigeria, and Cameroon. But when you read the brief, it's a discouraging story where this economic mainstay has been hit by several obstacles and imbalances. Deforestation without adequate planting to meet foreign demand leaves us in a tree-deficient condition. Cocoa is grown and sold in a chain which usually starts with an individual farmer's plot, who sells to cooperatives and middlemen before the big companies buy. This chain of sale often makes it difficult to track acceptable practices, which has sadly included the use of child labor. Also, the billions a year made by foreign manufacturers trickles down to an under 9% take by the African farmer. So ideally, the more control we have over owning and producing cocoa and creating our own chocolate end product, the better returns for us.
Before I filmed this episode, chocolate never really featured in any of my recipes, but learning more about Nigerian chocolate got me starting to think, well, this is part of me and I'm part of it. And why shouldn't I help to celebrate that fact? So today I'm gonna make you some chocolate from scratch. And it's called chocolate de matate.
Cocoa beans are found in the cocoa pod. To ferment the beans is the first process. They're typically spread out with the pulp, which ferments, producing alcohol. It takes about 5 to 6 days. For thousands of years, the Aztecs and Central Americans had revered chocolate for its medicinal and aphrodisiac qualities. So valued it was that it was seen as the food of the gods, and even used as currency. But it is the ancient Mexican handmade stone ground method of creating drinking chocolate which got me really inspired to try making my own. It was clear that everything I needed I could access easily, so why not have a go? The first thing I needed was either a roasted or pre-roasted bean. I was lucky enough to have a great new source, so I scored myself some beans and nibs. It was these nibs which would be crushed and blended with sugar and other spices to change its composition to cocoa mass, which is cocoa solids and cocoa butter.
So I was really excited to know that I could find some of the equipment that I really needed for this process right here in the market. Now, everybody remembers this stone. Maybe if you're as old as I am, you do. Our grandmothers used to use this stone to grind everything. Of course, that was before the time of blenders and food processors. They had this.
The traditional Mexican ones are more curved. Mine is flat. But regardless, I was going to make it work. I bought this one in the market. The grinding stone had to be seasoned or filed down, so to speak, before it could be used. It had to have a clean and smooth surface, which was safe for use. I love everything about the way it looks and feels. It's like a piece of art and history. So the object here is to grind and grind until we get a smooth, dissolvable consistency, which we can infuse into water, or in this case, milk. This is no easy task, and my great-grandmother would probably laugh at my challenge to keep everything together. We can start to see a powdery consistency, as well as a very potent release of chocolatey aroma, almost as if we've released chocolate power. Now in with my brown sugar, and my flavoring of choice, cinnamon. At 15 to 20 minutes again, we see a change. Now my chocolate is starting to take a liking to the stone. It's sticking, and this means that the oils are being released.
So now, we've been grinding for a few minutes now, and most of the nibs have sort of, started to change their consistency. And we're getting a thicker, more muddy kind of finish here. And I've got to tell you, it absolutely smells amazing. That rich chocolatey taste that we're all familiar with. It's just absolutely heavenly. So I'm going to continue this labor of love. The chocolate is not going to be completely smooth. There's going to be a little bit of grittiness to it. And I understand that's all part of the fun of drinking this type of chocolate. I can tell you this is hard work, but it's fun work. And as I start to see the consistency change here and really sort of become more almost sticky, I don't know whether you can call it sticky or whether you can sort of call it just a coming together. It's exciting. And now that the sugar's in, that's even more fun.
Now I had to get a spoon in to help scrape. It looks like a muddy road after the rain.
And I'm gonna try this. It's just got this lovely, rich, intense flavor. It really tastes like something from the earth. It's just sort of filling my senses with pleasure. Let's keep grinding.
So keep gathering together and grinding like you have nothing else to do.
I'm going to try this again and see where we stand. It's delicious. It has a creaminess, but also has a slight grittiness, which I understand with Mexican drinking chocolate is desired. Now I think we're just about ready to move on to the next part of the procedure, which is to infuse this chocolate into some nice hot milk.
I've taken this chocolate grinding far enough. Time for stage 2. The rest of this is pretty simple, really, starting off with the heating of the milk. I don't want this to boil.
So it's time to put this chocolate in now. The milk is just about boiling. You know, I'm going to put a good lot of it in there, in fact. And I'm going to just slowly stir this in. Taking it off.
The Mexican method of creating the frothy creaminess comes from using a molinillo. It's a wooden whisk. I don't have one of those, but I'm using a regular whisk, whisking away towards my own creamy result. That looks just great. And with the biscuits, we're good to go.
So now it's time to taste this really amazing cup of hot chocolate, made Mexican style. It's everything you really want in hot chocolate. It's rich, it's thick, it's creamy, and most of all, it's intense. And it was made with Nigerian chocolate, Nigerian cocoa beans, which really warms my heart. So cheers and double goodbye from Food Journey.